Hello, this is Brian McHenry, and in this example we will demonstrate our polygon friction zones. The first thing we want to do is go to Project menu and open up the demo polygon friction zone and go ahead and run it. Your run will already have the polygon friction zones in it. You notice that we have the same run that was showing at the start of this. Now what we want to do is up in the upper left corner here there's a friction zone icon. We click on that, brings in an overhead view. And what we're going to do for this one is we're going to do an overall coefficient of friction, put in a few friction patches for each vehicle, and then put in a common area for both vehicles to run through. And we'll show you how you determine what the coefficient of friction under each wheel is so that you can verify that it's working properly. So we'll add zone 1. What it does is create a rectangle at the origin. We go to edit point, which is up in the left corner here. We're going to make this for the entire area. We're going to set that friction coefficient to 1. And to add an additional friction zone, we simply click up here in the Add Zone button. Again, creates 4 points around the origin. For this particular patch, we're going to just move those 4 points up here in the path of vehicle 1. Vehicle 1 is coming down the page here. And we're going to set that friction zone to 0.2. So friction zone 2 has a 0.2. Add another zone. Friction zone 3 will set to 0.3. Notice how I'm setting the 0.3 here. Friction zone 4 will make 0.4. Now to give vehicle 1, you recall, is coming up the page here. So we're going to say add zone. And we'll make that first friction zone there, which is friction zone 5, make that 0.5. Friction zone 6 will make 0.6. So vehicle 1's coming across the page here, it's going to go through a 0.2, 0.3, 0.4. Vehicle 2's coming up the page, it's going to go through a 0.5 and a 0.6. And now we're going to make a common zone, and we're going to show you how you can actually change the shape of the zone. Now we make it the off-road, so now we just simply say insert point. We click along the edge of the road. We can zoom in. Might go ahead and edit some of these points to move them closer to the edge of the road. So the two vehicles should hit, and then they both go across there. We're going to make the friction coefficient of that one 0.7. So now when we run our simulation, we should be able to see that. To save your inputs, and again, recall we have that first zone there. So zone 1, let's walk through them. Zone 1 is this box out here, friction of 1. Zone 2 is a small rectangle that the vehicle will run through, which is 0.2. Zone 3, vehicle 1 will run through. Zone 4, 0.4, vehicle 1 will run through. Zone 5, which vehicle 2 will run through. Zone 6, which vehicle 2 will run through. And Zone 7, which is 0.7, which both vehicles should run through if they hit. Now to save this, we click the X up here to apply it. We say yes. And now you notice if we click on our room, we see that there are all the patches. Now we back up our vehicle. You see that this one's going to be starting in the first zone, going through the second, so it's 0.2, 0.3, 0.4, and this one's going to start at 0.5 and 0.6. Now we go ahead and recalculate it, click the recalc, and now we watch. Now how do we verify that they went through them? Well, we hit stop, we exit. In order to verify that we did see all those friction zones, we use our view menu. The view menu contains all the output from the msmac3D program. First item we can look at is the input echo, which is item 1. And the input echo, after echoing what you use for your inputs, etc., it also includes the polygon friction zones. And you notice we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 friction zones. And the coefficient which for each is for 1 is 1, then 0.2 for 2, 0.3 for 3, 0.4 for 4, 0.5 for 5, 0.6 for 6, and 0.7 for 7. The next place we look for verifying whether they saw them is we go to View Other Output Files. In the other output files, there's SMAC outputs, and then the Vehicle 1, Vehicle 2, and other vehicles 3D output. For the SMAC output file, we go to the CSTF, which is the 4th item down. And you notice that it starts on 0.2, goes back to 1, then it goes across 0.3, then to 1, 0.4, then to 1, and then down into the 0.7, and then it comes out of the 0.7 down at the end. Again, 0.2, 0.3, 0.4, through the 1, then down into 0.7. For Vehicle 2, we start on 1, and then we go through the 0.5, then we go through 0.6, then we come back to 1, and then we go through 0.7 and end on the 0.7. We can also verify this in the 3D output. There's an echo there also. Input echo is the last item on the bottom. You notice basically at the end is the same output, polygon friction zones, and it lists the 7 zones and the friction for each and the XY positions of each. To also see the friction, we see there's a comfort factor friction demand item, which is down here. You notice for Vehicle 1, 0.2, 0.3, 0.4, and it goes to 1, then back down to 0.7, and then runs off to 0.1, or back, runs off to 1. Vehicle 2, view other output files. We go to View Item 2. Again, it has the input echo also. We go to the bottom of the input echo for Vehicle 2. You notice it has the polygon frictions listed 1 through 7. We also go View Other Outputs. The comfort factor friction zone down here. And this starts on 1, goes through 0.5, 1, 0.6, 1, and then stays on 0.7. Now let's take one last look at them to verify that. Here's Vehicle 1. Again, you click on the vehicle, it shows Vehicle 1. So we slide this across, it's on the, recall that's 0.2, then it's to 1, 0.3, 1, 0.4, 1. The vehicle's hit, it's in 1, then it goes down to 0.7, then it runs across 0.7, and if we follow it, it ends up going back on 1. Recall the default is 1, so 0.7 off to 1. Now Vehicle 2, zoom in a little here, goes through the 0.5, 1, 0.6, 1, stays in 1. Now it's in 1, then it runs off into 0.7. To verify, we say, okay, it's the rear wheels run into 0.7 at around, the time down here says 2.9794 seconds. So if we go back to our output for Vehicle 2, we're in Vehicle 2, comfort factor. When does it go back to 0.7? Goes in around 3 seconds. See the 0.7, the rear wheels go first. Let's go back up here, excuse me. See, around 2.973 seconds right here. And so concludes our demonstration of the McHenry Software msmac3D friction polygons. Thank you for watching.